Today I'm excited because I have longtime friend Brent Hajek, and you're going to tell us about how in the world you got in the car business. But I remember that we first connected, I was doing some oil field videos, and somebody said, oh, call Brent Hajek, he's got all that stuff. And we went out and shot with a hot oiler and a couple other things.
Yeah, a paraffin thing or something.
Yeah, some kind of crazy thing.
Pretty cool subject, paraffin, yeah.
Yes. And then, you know, that's when I learned he had a car museum and things just got out of hand from there.
Yeah, you come over and met me there. And
yes.
I didn't know you was into cars and you didn't know I was into cars.
Yep.
But
yep.
Yeah, it was
and
cool.
We'll talk about a special car that I learned on that day.
Jack blew my mind on that day.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Well, let's get back to,
yes.
So how did you, what started the car thing?
Well, you know, growing up in the 60s, you know, it was a car culture. Mm-hmm. My uncle come back home with a 65 GT350 Shelby. And he was going on about it. I didn't know nothing about cars. And he's, you know, he had 806 tractors. Boy, we thought that was badass, you know. Anyway, he said, that Shelby's got more horsepower than 3 of them tractors. I said, there ain't no way, you know.
Yep.
And just jacking with me about that, pardon the pun.
Yep.
But anyway, you know, we kind of got into that. And then, God, my cousins, Ronnie Vaverka had a 426 Dodge pickup, which we'll talk about some other point. And his brother Wilford had a 428 Ford in his pickup, and you know, there was just a lot of that going on. You know, for a small town, there was quite a few cool cars and big pickups around here.
Yeah. And your first car was what?
69 428 Mustang.
Nice.
One, yeah.
Okay, the green one, and you still have it.
Got it. Yeah.
Yep.
Still needs work.
Did you ever lose it? I mean, did you ever sell it and get it back, or you just never sold it?
No, never got rid of it. I don't think anybody ever wanted it. No, I still got it.
So then, when did the collecting of cars start to be a thing?
Well, I wanted a faster car, you know, more of a drag car, mm-hmm. and got the price around what it was going to cost to build one, and actually, I'd found some old vintage, well, Thunderbolt Fairlane. It was cheaper to buy that Thunderbolt Fairlane than it was to build
from scratch.
Build a Camaro or Mustang, what have you, mm-hmm. And you know, they weren't collectible then. Little did I know, you know, I didn't buy the thing to speculate or be collectible. I bought it because it was already a pretty much done car. All I had to do is build an engine, tranny, put in it, mm-hmm. and took it to the track, and people, the old guys remember, hey man, those are bad. Those are cool cars. They had, you know, they only built a few of them, mm-hmm. and they pretty much dominated the.
Oh, so it was a real Thunderbolt.
Yeah, real deal Thunderbolt.
Okay. For those that don't know, Thunderbolt was like a real big deal.
Yeah, they're 6-figure cars pretty easy now. I think I give $2,000 for it.
Yeah,
but it was still cheaper than building one. And anyway, got the track, and people started coming up there. Man, that's a Thunderbolt, isn't it? Yeah. You know, and then, well, hey, I know where there's another one. You know, and God, they were cheap. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'd picked up like 427 Comets, and you know, for several $100. You know, they're bringing a lot of money, and it just really, the interest really was there. And the first Comet I bought was Don Nicholson's car, very, very famous car.
Is that the station wagon?
No, we got it as well. There was only one of them station wagons. They built 21 of the coupes.
Okay.
And anyway, we lettered it up like Don had it, you know, in 64, and took it to the track and was running it. And the track promoter came to me and said, hey, I'll tell you what, anytime you want to bring something up here and run, we won't charge you. You know, because people,
they liked that
they had an interest in it. You know, so that's kind of you don't see many of them. Nobody was doing that back then. And anyway, as time went by, they got to where they were paying us to bring them cars. And in the meantime, other people were coming up to us at the track, said, hey, I know where Jungle Jim's old Camaro is, or Gas Ronda's Mustang, or, you know, mm-hmm. There was just a lot of cool vehicles out there, and no one was collecting them, and we were able to buy them cheap, and it just, I don't know, kind of morphed into what we're doing today. But we started doing that stuff then we got with the NHRA back in, back in the mid 80s, I guess it was. And Wally Parks, as it turned out, Wally Parks, the founder of NHRA.
NHRA, National Hot Rod Association.
Right.
Yes.
And he kind of took an interest in us. I couldn't figure it out. They were paying us to go to Indy, Pomona, wherever, at the national events and display these old cars. And he had marketing services people with us, monitoring the crowd reaction to these old cars. Well, what Wally was up to is he wanted to build a museum there in Pomona, and he wanted to start having just nostalgia only. It morphed into the National Hot Rod reunions, and huge deal now. And anyway, they were using us for a test bed to check crowd reaction to the old cars. And we got to meet. That's when we got to meet a lot of the old racers. They'd come there and sign autographs. Dino Don, Gas Ronda, Ronnie Sox, just a lot of the old guys, and got to know them. And what I didn't know was Wally Parks, the founder of NHRA, was born and raised in Goldtree, Oklahoma. I didn't know this.
I didn't know that.
We were in Topeka, I think, national event there in Topeka, and it was raining. And we moved all the stuff in our trailer, and we kind of had a old photo display. And anyway, Wally Parks was in there in the trailer with us, and it was raining. And he said, "Brent, whatever, is the drag strip in Ringwood still open?" I said, "Now, Wally, how in the hell would you? Well, you dummy, I grew up in Goldtree. I know your granddad. Okay, they're a year apart." And
I guess I didn't realize that connection.
And I said, "Oh my God!" I said, maybe that's why he was taking care of this dumb Okie. I don't know, but we had established a relationship with NHRA that carries on today. This is their 75th anniversary. We had cars at Gainesville, the Gator Nationals, and we're getting ready to leave to go to Indianapolis, the U.S. Nationals, and it was so cool. We first started restoring these cars and taking them to the track. You get Bob Glidden. He was one of the he was a big hero of mine. Man, that guy was fast. But anyway, we got his Fairmont and restored it and had it. He could not believe that we'd found that old car and restored it and brought it back. And it started he's my hero, and now he's gone now, but we become friends. And it was and I didn't really know how they would perceive me doing, their old cars, taking them around. And they said, I went to all the trouble to find it, restore it, and haul it around and make them guys famous forever. And I thought, holy shit, I wasn't expecting this. That our heroes would become my friends,
right?
And be a mutual respect thing. And that went all the way through, with Don Nicholson and Gas Ronda and Glidden and Jack Roush and all those guys. It was the same deal, and it really blew my mind to have your heroes become your friends. And that was a very, very cool side effect I wasn't expecting.
So this started in your garage at your house, a 2 or 3 car garage.
Yeah, I had about 6 cars in it. That was handy. I couldn't afford a big building.
And so how did it? What was the next step?
Well, the next step was I'd bought a bunch of these old cars and had them parked outside here and there, and the value of them had gone up, and we were able to sell some of the lesser name cars. Try to work our way up. To get rid of Herman Thudknuckles' car and get Don Nicholson's car, or something like that. But we were able to sell some and put up another building, and use that money towards the restoration.
And is that the shop that's outside your house now? The big
yes.
Shop? Okay.
I keep the bus in there. That shop. Yeah.
Okay.
And we ran out of there for years, and NHRA today filmed a full show from that building back in the early 90s, and it was really cool. And the drag racing thing, we didn't really start was pretty cool. And Bill Elliott, I had a chance to buy Bill Elliott's Coors Melling car. I said, man, I didn't know nothing about NASCAR. I had been to NASCAR. My first NASCAR race I went to was in '98. That's crazy. I was always a drag racer, and anyway, now we got a couple dozen Cup cars, all of them Hall of Fame guys, and but we got 3 cars in the NASCAR Hall of Fame now. But having Junior Johnson and Ned Jarrett and Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, and Bill Elliott, you know Bill.
Yeah.
Kind of
Spent quite a bit of time with
we
Bill.
got together at Talladega one time. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. But anyway, the same thing held true with the NASCAR guys. You know, once it was just they just thought it was so cool, to do that. And Bobby Allison, the only Daytona 500 he ever missed, he was in Ames with us. We had a Daytona 500 party, and him and Judy were there, and that was kind of cool. But
so then you had the opportunity to buy the old Ames school.
yes, the school had shut down or merged with Lahoma to form Cimarron schools, and they give the building to the town of Ames, and they try to start a couple of businesses there. And hey, it's Ames. There just ain't much to do there. Isn't much need for a 40 office complex or a building of that size with one door in it.
Yeah.
And anyway, long story short, the town had to sell it, and they had an auction, and I was the only one there.
Okay.
So
that was handy.
But it worked out. The thing, it's an F3 storm shelter, and it isn't worth a damn for nothing else. But it works out good for keep cars in.
So now you've got close to 100 cars.
80 some. Don't ask how many are running.
Okay. I guess one of my first times to get into the car stuff with you. Well, it's two stories, but one was the day we were shooting oil field videos. You took me to the museum, and there was a car there that.
Part of your childhood.
Yeah. So the deal there is that I grew up in the same neighborhood as the Tasca family, the famous drag racing Tasca family, and they had a car. It was car. It was a car.
The Quirks next door.
I have to talk like this because I was from Rhode Island.
Yes.
And they had a 69 Mustang with just the big letters Tasca on it, and I rode to school in that car on 2 occasions I know of.
With Carl?
With Carl, and then one time I missed the bus and Bob picked me up. Ooh. Bob himself.
The bopper?
Yep.
The big bopper?
But
wow.
Our school...
That's a hell of a chauffeur, buddy.
Yes. So our bus stop, where it was like Rhode Island, it's freezing cold and snow and everything, was just up the hill from where the Tascas lived. So every day we would see this parade of cool cars go by as they were going to work or school or whatever. And that car, this Mustang, would drive by us, and he'd blow the horn, and he'd go off to work.
That was just, but back to Tasca, though, they were the world's largest Ford dealership.
Yes, they were.
This guy could call Henry Ford Deuce and tell him what he wanted.
Yep.
And it's
absolutely
unbelievable
he
the amount
built
of power.
Well, and he built the Cobra Jet program
Yes.
and all of that. That's a whole other story. That actually we're doing a series of videos about that.
He was in the middle of everything. The guy, Henry would call him sometimes to ask about stuff. It was,
how do I do this?
They were that influential, and and I didn't know him at the time. When I got that car, and then you kind of helped introduce him to me.
Well, and I walked into the museum, and there's that car. 40 years later,
what the hell's it doing in Ames?
The car went from Rhode Island to Ames,
Long way
Oklahoma.
From Cranston to Ames. Yes.
Yeah, yep. And so at that point, we kind of, I don't know if I helped, but connected with the Tascas, and then we actually went out there and met them in person and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
a couple years ago. But so another great story with Brent was and Brent, when Brent calls, you get half the story and you figure it out later. So he calls up and he says, "Hey Jack, what are you doing?" I said, "Brent, it's Thanksgiving Day." "Yeah, right. So what time can you be here?" "Brent, it's Thanksgiving Day." "Would 2 o'clock work?" "Okay." So at that point, you just give up and go. It's just whatever. And you had gotten the first blue, was it 2010?
FR500C.
Yes, a 2010
Grand Am
Mustang.
Cup car.
Yes. And you were going to go to Bonneville Salt Flats. Well, I had to Google to see what the hell that was. And so I'm learning as I'm going, and I have no idea what this is, and there were tractors involved, and even your dad and your brother were there.
Yeah.
And that moment turned into a 5 or 6 year adventure with you, where I traveled all over the country with you.
Yeah, that's what set up the deal. I called Jack. That's what set up the deal with Ford. I had a meeting like 72 hours later in Dearborn with the Ford executives.
Yes, no, just don't worry about the deadline. You got like an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, Jack, we gotta come up with a cool video here. I got a stupid idea in my head, and you make it happen. You know, we're gonna run this Mustang down this dirt road at 100-some mile an hour,
Yeah.
and in a cornfield. Mm-hmm. And anyway, Jack had put this video together. I mean,
where are them guys going?
Bonneville, they said, and get some speed records.
we flew to Dearborn and showed it to the powers that be, and next thing you know, we got a deal. I said they couldn't believe anybody, could. It was such a bizarre deal that it was so far out it was in, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. And then that car ended up breaking land speed records at Bonneville, Salt Flats.
Yeah, we put Danny in it, and
Yep.
went 250 something with it, and God, we were at SEMA with it, and got a hot rod cover out of it.
Yep. Hot Rod Cover Magazine.
That car, yeah, it got a lot of good ink, and then went on to Talladega and put Bill Elliott in it.
Yep.
Got an E85 USAC record.
He went and wrecked it on you.
Yeah, he scraped the wall a little bit. Hey, he smacked the wall at Talladega at 200 and something, and didn't bother him. I thought I thought it killed him.
Yeah, he said, we're just going bang the dents out and do it again. Yeah.
They just tagged the wall and slid about 3/4 of a mile, which ain't very far at Talladega, and 30-some degree banking. I don't know how the hell he did it.
Yeah, it was great. The video's still out there somewhere, but.
Right front went out. Just, you get that shake and you know it's coming, and that's just part of it. I don't know what happened, but that's just kind of the way it is. I think we learned a lot of what we need to do next time, and that's what you're here for, to come in, go through this stuff and learn a lot and understand it and, try to improve on what we're trying to do. And
now, you've got all of these cars and you spend a lot of time traveling with them.
Yeah, if we had a program going, we still do, with different tracks. Pat Barfield, the manager at Talladega Super Speedway, is a very good friend. And anyway, we done the 50th anniversary of Talladega Super Speedway. We done Daytona. We done their 50th anniversary in Michigan, and so on and so on. But we're doing the same thing with NASCAR that we started out doing with NHRA years ago, and it's the same deal. They're both, without your past, you don't have a future. I guess some of them are starting to figure out. NASCAR, there just isn't that much nostalgia out there. People are willing to load up and go to the track and bring their cars and show what they used to race. And probably got more interest out of the guys in the pits and some of the older drivers really got a kick out of that stuff.
Yep.
Said, how in the hell did they drive that car like that? You know?
Well, and I remember when we were at Talladega with the Blue Mustang, that some of the people that were coming up that I read about in Hot Rod Magazine and things like this, and they're just like, you know.
That was the damnedest deal. I mean, we were the only ones at the track.
Yeah.
The track was mine that day.
Bought the track for a whole day.
Yeah, rented it, if you see it. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I might have bought it. But anyway, we get up there and we get all these Hall of Famers that are here. We got Bud Moore.
Yep.
You know, won Trans Am championship, several NASCAR championships. He's a whole nother cool story. And the Wood brothers, unbelievable. You know, their resume, and Bill Elliott and Ernie Elliott and Danny Thompson, he was there.
Yep.
Mike Cook, Stonewoods and Cook fame.
Yep.
He was the USAC with the USAC guys, and
then all the Ford guys.
oh
there.
my God, all of
Yeah.
I remember when we were leaning on the fence watching him make laps, you know, trying to get everything sorted out. And I looked around and said, my God, it's like being on a horse in a John Wayne movie. You see Robert Mitchum and John Wayne on one, you know, and I said, damn, all my, you know, this is.
All your heroes.
They're
are
all
standing
here because
right there.
there's only one car. The only reason they're here is because this dummy.
Yeah.
You know, and that, you know, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. There's one thing about Brent is that, you know, all of us talk about things we're going to do. He just picks up the phone. And I mean, what are they going to do? Hang up on you?
Well, that's what kind of drove Ford crazy. He said, I'm going, you know, they come to the conclusion that I'm going to do it. You know, so it is
Might as well get on board. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and you know, that's how, you know, we got Monsanto and some of the other guys and Bosch and Garrett and all those the sponsors that we were able to put together. You know, when you're mainly just asking for products and not a whole hell of a lot of money, that helps.
Yeah.
And that worked really well with Monsanto. And they started giving you totes of Roundup at $20,000 a pop. It worked.
Yep. Well, that's seemed. I mean, that's kind of what I learned is that with Ford and everybody that you really never got any money, but you got pretty much anything else you needed, any parts.
Yeah,
or
the money came in later. You know, for the public the appearances and stuff like that. And that's when that started coming in, and the associate sponsors.
Right.
But yeah, that was a pretty interesting deal. You know, playing with the biofuels and the soy composite body panels and all the stuff.
Yep.
Tied in.
I remember I went to Pennsylvania and they were making the bio composite panels.
Kerry Hick at Advanced Composites. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Learned a lot of things during this big adventure.
We were all on a pretty steep learning curve. You know, working with some of the we were in the wind tunnel doing all that.
I forgot about that. Yeah, the secret wind tunnel. Yep.
Yeah.
Can't talk much about that, but it was like an Air Force Base thing, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah,
we have a car in
Lockheed
there.
Martin was in the middle of it. Yeah, that was.
That was pretty neat.
And wind tunnel's not cheap. It's $5,000 an hour. So
Oh, is it?
yeah, that's
Really,
what
I had
Ford-
no idea what that.
That's what Ford was paying for it.
Wow, that was pretty neat. I need to go back and get all of those videos and repost them because
Oh yeah.
you forget how deep we went with some of that stuff.
Well, we were so busy going on one project to the next, we just didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
You look back and said, damn, how'd we pull that off? You know?
So, the Hike Motorsports Museum is in Ames, population, what, 200-ish?
Let's say 170, 180.
Something like that. And you have a big
God.
event coming up in August.
They're having Ames Day. Let's not use the word big. Let's just say an event.
But this year's different because you're hosting it or you're
Well,
promoting it.
Rhonda's doing they never had a car show with it. And
So the museum will be open. You can come and check out the whole place. I mean, I think the thing that I enjoyed about your museum, Brent, is that the cars are documented. You know, a lot of times you go to a museum and the car will be there and you really don't know much about it. But you have all of the hot rod magazines. You've got all of the posters, the dealer paraphernalia,
that
photos.
propaganda. Yeah.
Yeah, but it documents the cars, you know, so you can validate that this car was this kind of a thing. And I think that the coolest memory I have is when Jack Roush came. He flew his jet, his looked like a fighter jet, into Enid.
Yeah, it's brand new. See, They were teaching him how to fly that thing.
Yeah, I don't think it lasted much longer than that, but we saw it while it was still
No,
flying. Yeah.
Yeah, Jack. Well, he works in Charlotte, but he commutes to Livonia, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah, he's 4 days a week he's in Charlotte, but he always spends the night at home in Detroit.
Yep, flying his own jet.
Yep.
So he drops in, and you guys hung out for the day at the museum, and we went out and ate, and
Yeah, Jack. We found the old Tijuana taxi, his 4-door Maverick,
the
Pro
ugliest,
Stocker.
the ugliest race car ever made.
Fairmont and Pintos aren't too far behind it. Probe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'd found that car. That was the one car Jack wished was able to keep, but we located it for him and got the chassis straightened out, got it rolling for him. And I think he called me here a while back needing some parts. I think he's just about done with it, I hope.
Wow.
But yeah, Jack, he's an interesting character.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so you need to come to Ames Day because usually the museum's open by appointment. But
Yeah, we're never open, but we're never closed.
there you go. If you happen to catch Brent, he'll let you in. But
Or they'll tell you where the key's at.
yeah. So I'm not going to tell you. So Ames Day is August what?
September.
Oh, it's in September.
I think it's second weekend in September.
Something like that. It's
I'll
on.
get shot for not knowing, but yes.
It's all over the place. It's on All About Hennessey and easy to find. But you can go to hikemotorsports.com and it has all the information there. But if you have the opportunity, and even if you're remotely interested in cars, you need to come to this place because it's just pretty amazing museum hidden in little old Ames, Oklahoma.
As well as should be, maybe.
I don't know. And check out the Astro Blim while you're there. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people come up there and ask, where's the Astro Blim? They're looking for it. And I said, well, you're about 6 million years too late.
Or you're standing right in front of the
It's
museum.
down there about 7,000 feet. You got to squint.
All right. Well, that's all I got for Brent today. Ames Motorsport Museum. See Brent, say hi, come by. I will be there with the All About Network van. We'll be playing music and having a great time all day. So come on by.
Sound like a deal.
All right. Thanks, Brent.
Appreciate it.
All right. Stay tuned.